Welcome back to The Life with the Browns. If your wife is having an affair, that's my business. Explosive words from Kody Brown in the Season 20 Tell-All Part 4 trailer that have sent the Sister Wives fandom into absolute chaos. And let me tell you, what we are about to witness isn't just drama, it's a reckoning a decade in the making. We are finally digging up the Catfish scandal that nearly shattered Meri Brown's world. The online deception that Kody and Robyn allegedly weaponized against her for years is back in the spotlight, and this time, Robyn isn't hiding behind scripted narratives or perfectly timed tears. Let's be blunt. When TLC announced they'd be revisiting the infamous 2015 Catfish fiasco, longtime viewers collectively froze. This isn't just recycled drama for ratings, fans said. This is peeling back the layers to see exactly when the Brown family began spiraling out of control. In that tell-all chair, Robyn sat with confidence, declaring that she had done nothing wrong and fully supported Meri through the ordeal. The sheer audacity of that claim, given everything we've seen since, is staggering. But here's where it gets electrifying. Meri has quietly maintained a very different story for years. Through hints, subtle digs, and outright statements, she suggested that Robyn's so-called help may have made things far worse. Two women, one scandal, and completely conflicting accounts of what actually went down during one of the most vulnerable periods of Meri's life. Someone isn't telling the truth, and now, the receipts are under a microscope. Sources close to production say filming this segment was tense, electric even. One insider described the atmosphere as charged with unresolved resentment. Another noted Robyn appeared genuinely shocked that anyone dared question her version of events. After all, Kody seemed to have her back. That shock tells you everything you need to know about her self-awareness. She's controlled this narrative so long, she seems to have forgotten others were there too. Everything viewers thought they understood about the Catfish scandal is about to be rewritten. The usual story has always been, poor Meri got tricked. She made a mistake, and the family rallied around her. But the real question isn't whether Meri was catfished. Everyone agrees she was. The real question is, what did Robyn do with the information she had while supposedly protecting her sister wife? And that answer might explain everything that came after. Casual viewers might see this revisit as desperate ratings bait, but anyone following the Browns closely knows TLC's timing is no accident. In the reunion discussions, it became clear that these moments from nearly 10 years ago shaped the path the family took, a path that, frankly, led to ruin. This wasn't just a minor embarrassment. The Catfish scandal was a foundational crack that would eventually threaten to topple the entire family structure. To understand the fallout, context is critical. In 2014, Meri Brown faced what can only be described as an emotional earthquake. After more than 20 years as Kody's legal wife, she agreed to a divorce on paper so that Kody could legally marry Robyn and adopt her 3 children from a previous marriage. On the surface, it was framed as an act of selfless sisterhood, but the reality was far more precarious. Meri was signing away her only legal protections in a family structure that already offered her little security. And during this incredibly fragile period, Meri was drawn into an online relationship with someone she believed to be a man named Sam Cooper. The catfisher, later revealed to be a woman named Jackie Overton, didn't just send a few harmless messages. She meticulously targeted Meri with flowers, texts, music, and flirtatious attention during the darkest moments of her life. For weeks, possibly months, Meri was being emotionally manipulated by a complete stranger who had identified her as the perfect mark, isolated, insecure, and feeling replaced in her own family. She was desperate for validation from anyone who would provide it. Sources close to the family describe Meri during this period as being in a heartbreakingly fragile state. One insider said she felt almost invisible in her own home, while this catfisher made her feel seen for the first time in years. Another went further, bluntly stating that Kody had emotionally checked out of his relationship with Meri long before the Catfish situation gave him an excuse to do so officially. This wasn't innocent flirtation, it was calculated, predatory manipulation, striking at her lowest emotional point. But here's the twist that turns this from a standard online deception story into something much darker. While Mary was being exploited by a stranger, someone much closer to home was quietly watching it all unfold. Someone who claimed she was helping. Someone whose idea of helping, depending on who you ask, may have done more harm than good. The catfisher may have initiated the contact, but the real fallout, the lasting emotional scars, the fractures in family trust? Robyn Brown's fingerprints are all over them. And what Robyn admitted during the tell-all has fans reeling. She openly stated that she was actively monitoring Mary's online interactions in real time. Yes, Robyn wasn't just aware something was happening. She was watching Mary's most vulnerable communications unfold as they happened. Which immediately begs the question, how did Robyn have such detailed access to Mary's private life, and why did she choose surveillance over direct intervention? According to Robyn's account, her solution was to go to Kody and tell him, "Get your butt over there and figure this out because she's being taken advantage of." Pause for a moment. Let that sink in. While Mary was being manipulated and emotionally preyed upon, Robyn's version of help was to delegate the problem entirely to Kody, keeping herself removed from any direct responsibility. And now, after years of controlling the narrative, she is publicly defending that choice, at a time when the cameras are rolling and the world is watching. Two women, one scandal, and the long shadow of choices that would echo across the Brown family for a decade. The catfish wasn't just a moment of deception. It became a litmus test for loyalty, control, and manipulation, and the story we thought we knew is about to be completely reframed. On the surface, Robyn's actions seem almost reasonable, a concerned sister-wife alerting a shared husband to a problem so he could address it with a struggling spouse. But let's be brutally honest. If your primary goal was to help Mary, would your first instinct really be to run straight to the husband she was clearly feeling disconnected from, instead of talking to her directly? Robyn claims she eventually confronted Mary face-to-face. She says she asked her point-blank what these online conversations were and why she was talking to this stranger. The framing is fascinating. Robyn positions herself as the protective friend, the loyal sister-wife stepping in to save a family member from disaster. She wants viewers to see her as the hero, the one person trying to intervene before things spiraled completely out of control. But insiders who were present at the time paint a dramatically different picture. One source described Robyn's so-called interventions as more like interrogation than support. Another explained that she seemed far more interested in gathering information than actually helping Mary navigate out of the situation. That distinction is everything. One approach is sisterhood. The other is intelligence gathering for strategic advantage. And the context makes her version even harder to believe. This was happening immediately after Mary had sacrificed her legal wife status, so Robyn could step into it. The ink on those divorce papers was barely dry, and suddenly, Robyn is positioned as Mary's primary confidant while simultaneously reporting back to Kody. If that isn't a glaring conflict of interest, what is? Mary remembers these helpful interventions very differently. To her, they felt less like rescue missions and more like betrayals. She has never been silent about the impact Robyn's involvement had during the catfish nightmare. In 2015, when the scandal first came to light, Mary directly accused Robyn of making things worse by allegedly feeding every detail back to their then-shared husband. And this wasn't an impulsive reaction. It was a considered, deeply personal statement about someone she trusted and expected loyalty from. The stakes were enormous. Mary leaned on Robyn during one of the darkest periods of her life, expecting sisterhood and confidentiality. Instead, according to Mary, every conversation became ammunition, every confession became evidence, and every moment of vulnerability became another blow to her relationship with Kody. She was forced into making public statements about the catfish situation that no one should ever have to make. Mary made it explicitly clear that no physical affair ever occurred, that she had never met the person in question, and that she regretted being drawn into the entire deception. What we're witnessing here isn't just a tale of online manipulation. It's a story about trust shattered, alliances exploited, and a family drama where one sister-wife's definition of help may have done more damage than the catfisher ever could. Imagine the crushing humiliation of having to defend yourself against accusations stemming from an online deception while your own family seems to stand in judgment rather than support. That was Mary Brown's reality. She was the victim of a predatory catfisher, and yet somehow she was being treated like the perpetrator. Sources close to Mary describe her as feeling blindsided by how the family handled the aftermath. One insider said she genuinely believed Robyn was her friend, the one person who truly understood what she was going through. Another noted that Mary felt deliberately set up to fail, that every word she shared in confidence was being used as ammunition against her. That level of betrayal creates a paranoia that follows a person forever, leaving them unable to trust anyone fully. When we look at Mary's side of the story, a chilling pattern emerges. Robyn's help may have served a very different purpose than sisterly concern. Every detail she gathered, every conversation she monitored, every confession she reported back to Kody positioned Robyn as the untouchable, trustworthy wife, the one whose loyalty could never be questioned. Meanwhile, Mary was being painted as unstable, unfaithful, and unworthy of her husband's attention or care. The Catfish scandal didn't just damage Mary's reputation within the family, it effectively eliminated her as a rival. And that raises a question we can't ignore. Was that outcome accidental or entirely by design? Enter Kody Brown. He storms into the tell-all battlefield like a man defending his empire, targeting anyone who dares to challenge Robyn's narrative. His brazen declaration in the trailer, that an affair is his business no matter what, sets the tone for how he has framed the Catfish situation for an entire decade. Kody doesn't acknowledge Mary as a vulnerable woman manipulated by a predatory stranger. In his eyes, it's a full-blown betrayal, a justification for years of emotional punishment and dismissal. The refusal to acknowledge nuance is remarkable. According to Kody, Mary's online conversations she entered while emotionally abandoned in her marriage, are unforgivable. Never mind that she was targeted intentionally. Never mind that she never physically met this person. Never mind that she was deceived by someone who saw her vulnerability as an opportunity. In Kody's world, the Catfish scandal becomes the ultimate get-out-of-accountability card, excusing every ounce of neglect and emotional withdrawal he has directed toward Mary since. And here's the most striking part. Kody and Robyn have weaponized this scandal together like a perfectly coordinated operation. The narrative is simple. Mary cannot be trusted because of 2015, and Robyn was the only one who tried to help. It serves both their interests. Kody justifies his complete emotional detachment, while Robyn positions herself as the heroic, loyal partner who foresaw the deception when no one else did. Sources familiar with the family dynamics describe Kody's commitment to this storyline as almost pathological. One insider said he has convinced himself he is the injured party in all of this, a delusion, considering everything Mary endured. Another noted that he seems to genuinely believe Robyn saved him from Mary, which explains his ferocious defense of her whenever anyone questions her motives. But longtime viewers of the Browns are beginning to notice something, a pattern Kody seems determined to ignore, a series of events that suggest the carefully constructed narrative may be hiding far darker truths. Every major family conflict somehow ends with Robyn emerging as either the hero, the victim, or both at the same time. The Catfish scandal positioned Robyn as the vigilant, faithful wife, while Mary was cast as the betrayer. The divorces from Christine, Janelle, and ultimately Mary all somehow reinforced Kody and Robyn's bond while systematically dismantling his relationships with the others. When coincidence becomes pattern, and pattern becomes consistent evidence, the implications are impossible to ignore. During the tell-all, host Suki cut straight to the heart of the matter with a question that should have been asked years ago. Do you not feel that Mary has any grounds to distrust you? Robyn's response was immediate and emphatic. I do not. I absolutely do not. No pause for reflection. No acknowledgement that reasonable people might see things differently. No recognition that Mary's pain and distrust could be valid. Just flat, unwavering denial that anything she did could have contributed to the breakdown of trust with her sister wife. The confidence with which she delivered it suggested either profound illusion or calculated deflection. Viewers can't decide which is more disturbing. But Robyn didn't stop there. She added her signature defense. If people want to say I did something wrong there, that is fine. I know what my intentions were. Let's unpack that because it reveals everything about her approach to accountability. Essentially, Robyn is saying that her intentions matter more than the consequences of her actions. She is declaring herself the sole judge of whether her behavior caused harm. Mary's perspective? Irrelevant. Her experience? Dismissed. Robyn has decided that because she meant well, nothing she did could possibly have been harmful. Here's the brutal truth. Intentions are not the same as impact. And the outcome of Robyn's involvement in the Catfish situation was catastrophic. Mary's standing in the family was permanently damaged. Her relationship with Kody fractured beyond repair. And for a decade, she's been treated like an untrustworthy outsider in her own home. Those are consequences no good intention can erase. Sources present during the tell-all described the moment as incredibly tense. One insider said Robyn seemed almost offended that anyone would question her version of events. Another described her lack of self-awareness as shocking, even to longtime observers of the Browns. Meanwhile, the internet has been relentless in dissecting Robyn's actions, and fan theories about her role in the Catfish scandal are spreading like wildfire. The prevailing theory is damning. Robyn allegedly used the Catfish situation to permanently weaken Mary's relationship with Kody, eliminating her as competition for his attention and affection. What appeared to be concern or intervention may actually have been strategic manipulation, positioning Robyn as the only wife Kody could trust. History seems to back this up. Robyn consistently inserts herself into every family conflict, positioning herself as helpful while simultaneously strengthening her bond with Kody and gathering information on her sister wives' vulnerabilities. During the Catfish period, the timing was particularly telling. Robyn's legal marriage to Kody followed immediately after Mary's divorce. Her adoption of the children cemented her family's connection to him. And Mary's isolation from the family happened in the same window. This was not random. It was a sequence that systematically strengthened Robyn while weakening everyone else. Observers have noticed the pattern. One researcher who has studied the Browns extensively remarked that Robyn always emerges from family crises with a closer relationship to Kody, while everyone else's bond deteriorates. A longtime viewer put it bluntly. It's like watching someone run a decade-long campaign to become the only wife, and the Catfish scandal was just the opening move. What if Robyn's meddling was never about helping Mary at all? What if the surveillance, the reporting to Kody, and the so-called interventions were all designed to achieve a very specific outcome? The question now is unavoidable. Was the Catfish scandal the catalyst that started Robyn's rise and Mary's fall, or was it always part of a carefully orchestrated plan? The theory that has fans buzzing is simple, but devastating. Robyn allegedly saw an opportunity in Mary's vulnerability and exploited it masterfully. She got to look like the loyal, supportive sister wife while simultaneously ensuring that Mary would never recover her position in Kody's heart. This was not sisterhood, it was sabotage, expertly disguised as support. And the long-term fallout has been catastrophic for everyone except Robyn. The destruction that followed the Catfish scandal has been systematic and complete. Kody Brown left in 2021 after years of feeling invisible in her own marriage. Janelle followed in 2022, acknowledging that her relationship with Kody had deteriorated beyond repair. And Mary, the woman at the center of the Catfish nightmare, finally split from Kody in January 2023, ending a marriage that had been dead in everything but name for nearly a decade. Every departure follows the same pattern. The women describe feeling like outsiders in their own family while Robyn remained Kody's favorite. They talk about being dismissed, ignored, and made to feel that their needs and concerns didn't matter. They watched Robyn receive attention and affection from Kody that seemed reserved exclusively for the newest wife. The resentment, the hurt, it's palpable. And it all traces back to the dysfunction that took root during the Catfish era. Sources close to the family describe the scandal as patient zero in the destruction of the Brown family. One insider said it was the moment Kody decided he only had to be a husband to one wife, and everyone else was optional. Another explained that after the Catfish situation, Kody never really tried with Meri again, and eventually that pattern extended to Christine and Janelle as well. The scandal gave Kody permission to check out, and Robyn's involvement ensured he never checked back in. What makes this timeline especially tragic is how preventable it all was. Had the Catfish situation been handled with compassion, recognizing Meri as a victim rather than a betrayer, the family might have healed. Instead, Kody and Robyn weaponized it, using it as justification for years of emotional punishment and neglect. The hierarchy was cemented during the aftermath. Robyn at the top, everyone else treated as lesser wives. Tomorrow's episode promises a confrontation fans have waited a decade for. Meri's perspective, Robyn's defense, and Kody's aggressive stance will collide under intense scrutiny. Viewers who have spent years watching this family implode will finally see these competing narratives tested against each other. The ultimate question emerges. Was Robyn Brown a concerned sister wife who genuinely tried to help Meri navigate an impossible situation, or was she a master manipulator, exploiting vulnerability to secure her position as Kody's only trusted partner? The evidence is mounting. Robyn admitted to monitoring Meri's online conversations. She admitted to reporting what she observed to Kody. She confronted Meri. And the result? The complete destruction of Meri's relationship with Kody and her standing within the family. Robyn can claim pure intentions all she wants, but the outcomes speak for themselves. A sister wife reached out during her darkest hour and received surveillance, reporting, and a decade of being treated as untrustworthy. This 10-year-old drama still matters because it exposed the fundamental dysfunction that would eventually tear the Browns apart. The Catfish scandal revealed the tiers of wives, the different standards of loyalty, and the vastly different consequences depending on your proximity to Robyn. Christine saw it. Janelle saw it. Meri lived it. And all three eventually walked away rather than continue accepting their designated positions as lesser partners. Robyn's response to accountability is telling. She refuses to acknowledge that her actions contributed to the family's breakdown. She declares herself innocent and expects everyone to accept her verdict. That level of defensive certainty is not the behavior of someone confident in their innocence. It is the behavior of someone who cannot afford to examine her own actions too closely. So, where do you stand after hearing all of this? Do you believe Robyn when she insists she had Meri's back during the Catfish scandal and did nothing wrong? Or do you think she used the situation to secure her position as Kody's only trusted wife while her sister was dragged through public humiliation and private devastation? The evidence is clear. The timeline is undeniable. The pattern is impossible to ignore. Drop your theory in the comments. Are you Team Robyn or Team Meri? After a decade of conflicting narratives, this tell-all might finally give us the answers the Brown family has been hiding from viewers and maybe even from themselves.